make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Roar. Roar.
Colonel Ironside's here. 200 years I stood in the gap, fighting those who would harm my country. It was my honor, my sacred duty, so help me God. 9 times they took my life. 9 times I stood back up and made them pay. The freedom fighter and I could handle anything, but someone betrayed me. I was ambushed, made mortal, rendered powerless, and retired. They passed an amendment that made me a civilian before I left the hospital. For 50 years I watched my country change. Watched this work while erasing me from history. The day I quit my job, I powered up and discovered they lied about that too. I'll remind them of freedom. I'll remind them of duty. I'll remind them of their oaths and who they serve. I'll remind them while I'm shoving it down their throats.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I wanna know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I wanna know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Falling slowly, eyes that know me, and I can't go back.
Hey, welcome to the Monday show. Bunny is thinking. Hey, John. See, John's in the chat over there. John's Longbox. Now, there's a reason why I'm covering this show, this particular movie today. Let me go ahead and share that right quick.
Over 10,000 fans of Glen Hansard came to pay their respects at a public wake held for the Oscar-winning singer-songwriter. Some travelled from as far away as the US and Germany to file past the coffin in the chapel at the Royal Hospital in Kilmainham in Dublin.
Over 11,000 arrived at the Royal Hospital Kilmainham, coming from far and wide to share a moment.
I just had to pay my respects to Glen after all these years of following around and listening to his music.
He was so pure and honest, and his music really touched me in a way nothing ever touched me.
Always the loveliest man. Kind of changed the course of my life a few times.
I remember Glen from, busking days on Grafton Street with Mick Christopher, and he was always a great person for bringing people together.
The worst thing he ever did was break 3 strings in one song and hand me the guitar and want it back in one song's time.
Inside the Baroque chapel, musicians played as Glen Hansard lay in a wicker casket, accompanied by 2 of his guitars. It was overpowering for some.
We're following him for the last 25 years, myself and my husband. And it was just lovely to come somewhere to acknowledge Glen.
I actually thought it was magnificent. The chapel was beautiful. The way it was all presented with the wildflowers and the church. It was just perfect setting for a send-off for someone so amazing as Glen Hansard.
Mr. Hansard's funeral will take place at St. Patrick's Cathedral tomorrow. Thousands are again expected, as they say goodbye to a man everyone here idolised, and whose influence travelled far further than the pavements of Grafton Street. Gavin O'Callaghan, RTE News.
Well, so Glen passed away a single motorcycle accident the other day. It was supposed to be pretty bad. I don't think they're going to have an open casket according to the sources I saw. So I don't know the exact details, but it was pretty bad. So I cover independent media here, and so why is this something that I feel I need to cover? Well, because in 2007, there was a movie that came out called Once. Pretty simple title, you know, and I remember hearing people like just talking to each other. It's like, oh, you gotta see this movie. You gotta see this movie. And I knew it won a music Oscar, and I didn't watch it 2 years and years later though. But the thing that I kept hearing was that it was it was like a pure simplistic story. It's like a slice of life story. It's like a story that's kind of like down to the studs, and it's almost like it's like storytelling at its bare essence. And I finally got around to watching it. I guess it's about 10 years ago now, and well, I kind of looked back into the history of it, and it's very interesting history in that there's this rich culture in Dublin, Ireland, and surrounding. It's called the busker culture, and just simply street performers who will just like stand on a corner and sing their heart out with their case open, and there's people that make entire careers out of it, and the lead character of this movie, Glen Hansard, was one of those people. And so hold on a second. Hey, Wookie. His friend of his that played in a band behind him, his bass player, John Carney, just wanted to make a movie about this culture, set because he wanted to kind of shine the light on this particular subculture that he didn't think got enough attention, because there's these amazing musicians that every single day would ply their wares on the streets of Dublin. And so his idea was just to kind of do a movie celebrating that. And so, he got a good script going, and he decided that he cast Cillian Murphy. That's Cillian Murphy. The guy's kind of made a name for himself since then. Peaky Blinders. He was Scarecrow from the Batman, the Nolan Batman movies. But he's done some incredible work. He was Oppenheimer. He played Oppenheimer last year in Oppenheimer. Incredible actor. But the music that he got the music composed by Glen Hansard, because he was just the best songwriter he knew. And the problem is Glen's got about a 3-octave range, and he uses it. And so the music that he had, he loved the music, and he was determined to use it, but Cillian couldn't hit the notes. And so he basically was stuck because he had to have an actor who could hit those notes. And well, Glen had starred in a movie called the I think the Communes. I think it was called the Communes. The Commitments. The Commitments. Okay. It was about a like a blues rock band, Ireland. You know, had a lot of no-name people, but they would sing. There was like it was like the bar band culture in Ireland, and Glen had actually been in the background of that, and so that was his only acting credit. But John needed somebody who could sing these songs, Glen's songs. And so he asked Glen if he'd do it, and Glen's like, "I'll do it on two conditions. First of all, it's got to be a low budget, production, and it's got to be very organic. And 2, I will only co-star if you hire Arena." The lady that he had been performing with for a long time. Let's see, make sure I get her name right. No, it's Margita Erglova is her name. She was a from Czechoslovakia, but he and her had been doing performing music together for a long time, since she was 16, and he kind of had a crush on her but she was 16, so he kind of like just performed with her. But she had this really luminous presence they had this chemistry, this amazing chemistry. And he told John, he's like, "If you put Margita in this with me, you'll have your movie." And so that's what John did. They only had a see, what was the $150,000 budget. So fraction. I mean, there's independent movies today that have way bigger budgets than that, and that was their budget. And so they go to the streets of Dublin. They used locals. They used they used like they used like places in the community that are known. And Glen actually did several of the scenes. Glen just put a guitar down and started doing his busking thing. And there's actually people coming by and put money in the guitar case. I mean, when they say guerrilla, I mean they literally did several times. There were several things that they did that nobody knew that they were even shooting a movie, and that was by design. That's the way they wanted it. Let me go ahead and play this. This trailer will explain a lot. Oh, it's like. Why is that not? Okay, here we go.
Da 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 da. I don't know
song for her?
She's gone.
She's dead?
No, she's not dead. She's gone.
My father used to play in the orchestra back at home.
You don't want to go for a walk or something, no?
I have to go now.
Stay the night.
I have responsibilities. I spoke to my husband last night. He's coming over. We'll try to make it work.
Sweet. You're just like everyone. So what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
What's the check for Do You Love Me? So, will you show? If you ever want something and you call, then I'll come running.
Now, I did a poll on the X, and it was like, what was the most iconic music moment the last 50 years for you? And the selections I gave were Falling Slowly from Once, This Purple Rain from Prince, Wayne and Garth in the Car, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Tom Cruise and his undies, you know. And I got Falling Slowly is in the lead, 56%. And because anybody's ever seen it, knows what I'm talking about here. I'm going to try to play this scene. Just I'll try to stop it often enough that that I won't get struck, but I don't make any promises. But the scene is the kind of the heart of the whole movie, and so I'm going to try to do a reaction to it, and we'll see if it lets me. But this is kind of like, this shows the what's beautiful about this film. So well, let's give it a shot here. Hold on. That's not let me find the scene right quick. I want the actual scene. That's the that's music. All right. Okay, that's not it either. Hold on. Supposed to, all right, here we go. I found it. All right. Okay, let me set this up. The what's happening is he's busking his heart out. And nobody's paying attention to him really. But this lady shows up, and she starts like talking to him. She's selling flowers on the street, and she kind of like wants to know who the song's about because the song is just like just breaking. He's pouring his heart out, and he's like, well, she's gone, and she's like, what? She's dead? It's like, no, she's she broke up with me, but she finds out that he's fixes vacuum cleaners for a living, so she's like, oh, I got a vacuum cleaner, so she comes back the next day dragging her vacuum cleaner, and she starts asking again, and she's like, oh, my father. She said, well, let's have lunch, And so they were eating lunch, and she's like, oh, I'm a musician too. My father was like in the orchestra or whatever, and I play piano at this local shop. And she's like, well, come with me, and I'll show you. And so he goes with her, and she plays beautifully. And so she's like, well, let's play one of yours. And he has the music with him. He's kind of reluctant about it, but she talks him into it. And this moment happens. So
I'll put that there, yeah. This is in C, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it goes da, it goes da 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 da. Yeah? And then
one thing I love about this scene is that if you've ever just picked up instruments with somebody and learned to play something with them, that moment of discovery where you're not sure, what they're capable of, and they're not sure what you're capable of. There's this moment of like, the figuring out the chemistry, and sometimes you'll have it immediately. And these two just have amazing chemistry. One thing I love about Margot's character, which is in the movie, it's just listed as girl, is she's very cut and dried. She's very like literal, and so for a creative guy like him, it's really beautiful, combination. Very well written.
there's a bit in it. Can you do that? Brilliant. And then there's another part that goes there.
You see her figuring it out
and then
real
the chorus,
time.
so you have those two bits,
Yeah.
and the chorus goes da 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 ba 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 da da. That's it. Perfect. Brilliant.
That part right there is why Glen Hansard had to play the part. Not everybody can hit that jump like that. So I'm going to play, let them play it a little bit. I'll have to pause it so I don't get struck, but check this out.
So do you want to give a spin?
Yes.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. I don't know you, but I want you all the more for that. And words fall through me and always fool me, and I can't react. Let me change here. In games that never amount to more than they're meant will play themselves out. called the chorus.
Take this sinking boat and point it home. We've still got time. Raise your hopeful voice. You had the choice. You made it now.
So that's about all I can play of that. I'm afraid to play any more than that. I will get struck. So that's part of the problem with being on YouTube. Anyway, what's up, T? As I'll say, just go. Remember, been really moved by sincerity. Yeah, yeah. Well, one thing, there's a couple things about this movie that's just genuine. He uses like local musicians to people that he's familiar with, people that he's played with, and there's a pub culture in Ireland where everybody gets together, they have a meal, and then afterwards you're required to sing. It's called Singing for Your Supper. And so it's one of the reasons why some of the greatest folk singers and some of the greatest musicians have come out of Ireland is because of this particular cultural wrinkle. Let me play this right here. This is just them sitting around playing, and this is something that they just they were rolling cameras, and this happened.
And I love her so, I wouldn't trade her for gold. Walking on moonbeams, I was born with a silver spoon. And I'm gonna be free. I'm walking on moonbeams, staring out to sea. And if the door be closed, then a row of homes start building.
Alright, that's all I can play with that. But, I come from Appalachian culture, and the families will just get together. Everybody's got an instrument, and they'll, I came from a Christian culture, so they just open up the hymn books and just like break into something like that. And so that's why this movie is so special, is that it caught a glimpse of a culture that's kind of very local and very contained, and they managed to invite everybody in to sing for their supper, and the great thing about this movie plot is these two people, they meet each other, and the names are guy and girl in the script. And you never find out. They never ask each other's name. They never, both of them are in kind of like a transition moment in their life. He just broke up with his girlfriend and wrote all these songs out of his heartbreak. And she's missing her husband, who chose not to move to Dublin with her, and she's supporting herself, her child, and her mother, with buying these flowers. And she meets this guy who's got all these beautiful songs, and he decides that he's going to move back to London and pursue a music career because of her encouragement, and so she's like, well, I'm going to help you do it, and so they get like a bank loan and buy some studio time, and he goes and finds he knows the best musicians in Dublin are this Thin Lizzy tribute band. They play by Philip Lynott, the lead singer, Thin Lizzy. They play by his statue, And so he goes and he says, I have some original songs. I need a backup band. It's like, well, we only play the Lizzy, and he's like, I'll pay you to be my backup band. You're the best musicians in Dublin. So, well, basically, she talks him into it. She basically tells him she won't take no for an answer. She's like, okay, you're gonna be on this. You're gonna be on this record. This is when we're doing it. We'll see you there. She just kind of steamrolls over everybody. She's just determined this is gonna happen. And so she talks down the studio guy down to money they can afford, and gets an engineer. The engineer comes in bored. He thinks they're just going to be a bunch of street musicians, and he sits there. They start a song late because he's on the phone. He's so, like, he's not into it, and he just says, "Okay, do your thing," and he kind of like backs up, pulls a newspaper out, and just kind of lets the board going to be what the board's going to be, but. Then he starts listening to what's coming, through the mic, and he's like, "Oh crap, these guys are good," So you see him like at one point he kind of like leans forward. And he's like, "Oh, okay," well, it starts adjusting knobs, and by the end of it, he's so into it that he kind of becomes another member of the group, and they put all these songs down and everything, and the young lady basically, after the thing is over and they've got this great demo that he's going to take to London with him, and he basically proposes that they spend the night together, just because it's obvious they're not going to be able to be together, but he wants to know if she wants to form this memory with him, right? And she doesn't commit to it. He says, "My husband's coming, and you've got a girlfriend you need to go to," and but he makes one last move. He makes one last proposal, and you'll have to watch the movie to find out if she takes him up on it. But what you get is a simple story. Girl meets boy, boy meets girl. But at the same time, there's kind of this doomed quality about their relationship, in that both of them are not available, really. And but at that moment in time, they give each other emotional support to make the decisions necessary to move their lives forward. And this is probably a relationship both of them are going to remember the rest of their life, but it's a transitional one, and that's why it's called Once. And the reason why this is important, the reason why it's that if you've never seen it, you need to see it, especially if you're a storyteller, especially if you're independent. Because independent, you don't have the budget. Independent, you don't have the resources. Independent, you just have you, and you have what you can achieve yourself. But what Once proves, what's so important about this movie, is that the sincerity that they went into it with. Just wanting to tell the story. Just wanting to fulfill the script. It was a good script, and they knew it was a good script, and they just showed up. Hit their marks, sang the songs, and put it in the can. And what you got is a purity of purpose. You got a purity and organic feel to it. You literally feel like you're a fly on the wall watching these two drifting people find each other just long enough to get both of them back on track. And but the relationship's not going to last, and you know it's not going to last. It's this bittersweetness to it, and that if it was like a typical love story, I think Hollywood would have forced them together. Hollywood would have demanded that they wind up in bed together, or as boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. Hollywood would have demanded it. But fortunately for the movie, this was not made in Hollywood. This was made in Dublin, Ireland, And it was made independently. That's the beauty of independence. You don't have to answer to studio executives. You don't have to answer to producers. You don't have to answer to anybody except your own vision and what you can accomplish and the people that you can bring with you. Once is a perfect example of that. And Glen and Margita had this chemistry, this beautiful chemistry that just, it glows on the screen. I mean, it absolutely glows. And but at the same time, maybe it's because their relationship at that time, was so unrequited because she was too young. He was in his 30s and she was a teenager, basically. By the time the movie happened, she was 19. But when they met, she was 16. And so Glen wasn't going to, he wasn't going to mess with her. At 16. And, well, I mean, later on they did date for a while. When they went on when they were touring, kind of like promoting once, they became more than friends for a little while, and then they announced in 2 years later that they realized that just like girl and guy in Once, that they were better friends than they would ever be anything more than that. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so, in a lot of ways, Glen and Margita were guy and girl. In a lot of ways, what you saw on the screen was basically, there's a lot of truth to it. And, but after this movie, John Carney, he went on to made a couple more movies that it had good music in both of them. The next movie, I can't remember the name of it. 1 second. I've seen all of them, but the next one had Mark Ruffalo in it, and so Mark Ruffalo is always going to be a hard sell for me. Okay, Begin Again is the next one. That's the one with Mark Ruffalo in it, and Sing Street was the next one. The other one's pretty good. I like that one. It was a bunch of 80s kids getting together and forming a band, also in Dublin, I think. But he has an ear for music in his movies. And Begin Again's pretty good. It has good music. But Mark Ruffalo, I can't recommend anything with Mark Ruffalo in it. I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't divorce him from, the person he is. It is what it is. But the thing about it is, is if once is basically this moment in time where a bunch of people got together and just with a good script and the right attitude and went to a place, didn't block off any streets, didn't insist that people bend their lives around this production, and they just blended right into the community. And everything is kind of like everything flows like a slice of life. And Mark Ruffalo makes Richard Simmons look like Charles Bronson. Wow, that. All right, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. I don't know. He just plays this neurotic thing that just drives me crazy. Even if he wasn't him and didn't run his mouth so much, just this neurotic thing that he does drives me crazy. I can't stand it. Anyway, but the thing that that makes us really special, R.I.P. Glenn. But what makes it really special is the fact that they didn't expect it to do anything. They didn't have any ambitions for it to be a worldwide hit. They just made art. They just made something self-contained and a small niche part of society that if you did a pitch to a major studio, they'd be like, why would anybody care about that? Why? Because people have transitional relationships. People have people who come into their lives just long enough to help them find their feet, and they may just float back out of their life. And those special relationships, you never forget them. You might not ever see that person again, but for that one moment in time, they changed your life. And that's what that movie's about. And that's something that is universal. I was doing prep work for this today, and I started thinking about all the people who kind of came into my life for just a few years and had such an impact on me. And somehow those relationships are more vitally important to me than some of the relationships that I've had for years that are people local nearby, people I see every day. And there's something about this movie that captured that. And so for that reason, I'm a 6, out of 6 carrots, I don't give 6 carrots very often. But this is a 6-carat movie for me. Every time I see it, every time it's on somewhere, I watch it. And everybody I've ever recommended it to has thanked me later. Because it's very, very rare do you find something this pure. That you see intent in art that's this unselfconscious. Very rare that you see people just getting something together and just telling a guy meets a girl story with no pretenses, with no adornment, except for this amazing music. And it's just a slice of life in a moment in time. And you're on fly on the wall. And we've kind of lost that in our culture. I think we're getting it back a little bit. I think Backrooms and Obsession and Iron Lung earlier. All these are done by YouTubers that made bank Made really, really nice paychecks for the creators. And hopefully that's going to encourage the major studios to back off the budgets, to find people with stories to tell, with good scripts, and encourage this. Bring us back into our culture. Bring this kind of art, this independent spirit, this purity of purpose, this absolute art for the sake of art. If no one sees it, no one sees it. But I want to make this. Funny thing about that, when you have that attitude, if nobody sees it, I'm still going to make it for me. If nobody sees it, I'm going to put it into the world because it needs to be in the world, if for no other reason. That's what I'm the person to bring it, and I'm going to bring it into fruition. I'm going to bring it into the world. I'm going to birth it into this world. And when art is made for that reason only, and it's good enough, it will resonate. And we're seeing it over and over right now. When somebody does something for the sake of its own sake, not for the sake of being wealthy, not for the sake of being popular, not for the sake of 1,000 people seeing it, but because it's important that this exists in this world. And it's important that projects like this exist. Now, Glenn, he's going to be missed by the people who knew him. He's going to be missed by Ireland. He was a native son and beloved. But if the only thing he ever did in his life was this movie, then well done. Then absolutely well done. There's also a musical that's been very successful using this script and using some of the songs, most of the songs, and it's touching people just as much as the movie did, because it's just that it's good songs, it's a good script, it's a good concept, and if you find the right leads, it'll work every time. But when we talk about the independent spirit, and we talk about that a lot on this channel, the bottom line is that's how we move forward. People are like worried because of pop culture going off the rails, because it's gotten so bad. The writing's bad, the acting's bad, everything's bad about it. And we're like, well, this has been destroyed. We're losing all of our stories. We're losing, I think the cultural Marxists have done a lot of the damage deliberately. But as long as we've got the ability to get together with each other and write a story, maybe something as simple as a guy meets a girl, and go to a location, and we've got better cameras on our phones than a lot of people had when they made Rocky. And Rocky was very much like Once. That movie's coming out later on, how they made Rocky. I'm going to see that one. But when some people just get together with a perfect story to tell, and just tell the story and with as much purity as possible, and just for the enjoyment of making art, that's how we're going to get forward, and that's how the society moves forward. That's how we're going to get our news stories. That's how we're going to get our new tales to tell. That's how we're going to get the kind of quality that we used to get routinely, that now shines like a light in the darkness. That's how we get back to there, is things like Once. People getting together, telling a story. So if you haven't seen it, see it. It's a 6 out of 6 carat bunny recommend. Check it out today. if nothing else, listen to the music, or if nothing else, that scene that I played as much as I could of. Just watch that scene. That scene is just special. It's amazing. Maybe one of the best music scenes in cinema history. It's the chemistry, the beauty of it, the simplicity of it. It's so powerful. So check it out. Anyway, thank y'all for coming. And we've got for FMC Arena this Thursday, we're going to do the Argonauts. They're live right now on FMC. And we're going to have fun with them. This will be 6 o'clock Thursday night. Cryptids and Conspiracies, still deciding on a topic. John's Lone Box and Wookie was in here earlier. We're still working on a topic. I think I got a good one I'm going to propose. But we will have that Saturday night, 7 o'clock. And we'll see you there. But until then, follow the White Rabbit, everybody. Make sure I click the right thing. Oh, there we go. All right. See you next time.
Thank you.